Well, I'm all for Christmas, all the happy smiles and the wishes, and I want it all from the lights to the mistletoe.
So then we can open this like so. And this journal has a total of 2 accordion folios in it. So this is one accordion folio, a little bit manipulated, and this is a second accordion folio, also from Idea-Ology. I have used the whole accordion folio except of these little guys here. So I have taken this out. I mean, this is the accordion, isn't it? So I think this isn't an accordion folio anymore, but just a folio because I've removed the accordion. Yeah, so I can use these for something else. Really cool because we have a cool material. I can imagine to make something like, yeah, a decoration for a table or something. You can then just stand it like so. I don't know what I will do with those, but I just wanted to let you know that I had removed those pieces. And this is now something like a lab book because, yeah, we have things that flip open from the right and the left side. And you can see on the inner part of the spine, there's nothing. I know there are lab books where the construction is a little bit differently, but on the one hand, I didn't want to have this too big and too massive because Tim has to show that in his video. So you have probably already seen it because this video will be published after his live video, but that doesn't matter. But I wanted to have something that is really simple to flip through. And so that's why I don't have pages here. And I wanted to use this inner part of the spine to create this little scene. I have never seen that before, so I thought I give this a try. So if you have seen something like this, like a decorated inner spine, or how is that called? I don't know. If you have seen this before, then please leave a link or send me an email or something like that. Send me photos, send me videos. I would be really interested if other people have already done that, and if yes, how? Because this was like a really cool adventure. I was thinking about this relatively much because, or actually long, that's what I'm trying to say, because these are also half trees. I've just shaved the back, but I had to make sure that this whole thing is not too thick, because when I close this, you know, I have this space. You see there's still a lot of room left, but I didn't want these pieces here touch the trees. And that was not so easy to find out how thick this whole thing can be. But as you can see, I could manage it, but it took me a while. And I have also made this little tassel that is now hanging on the inside of this spine. Normally you would expect something like this on the outside, but I thought, why can't we put this to the inside? So here I've used some Idea-Ology elements as well. These little bells, these are so cute. And these little, this little 25. And here's also one thing that says, you can't see it, wishes. The 24 that's hanging there is from an older Idea-Ology package release, or how can I say it? But it's Idea-Ology as well. And this thing here is also from Idea-Ology. These are just gorgeous because you can do so many different things. I mean, for such a dangle is really helpful, of course, but you can also take these and put them to pages. You will see another example how I used this later on in the video. I think these are really, really nice. They have those feet like a normal bread, but this ring it's just cool. Okay, so then we have this little thing. Ooh, and this little guy there in the middle. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but I've tried to give him a real face. So when you buy these, they are like off-white, I would say, and you can of course do a lot with them. You can put several different mediums on this material, but I've tried to give him like a real face, even if he has a face. Do you know what I mean? But when this material was like naked, you couldn't see the eyes so well, and for some project you don't need every single detail of this, but in this case I wanted that he has eyes, so that when you open this, he's looking at you. So yeah, hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's go into the signatures. As I said, this is one accordion folio without the accordion, and this is the second one. And as you can see at first glance, these pages, the front pages, look a little bit differently. So we have a little thing that can open here like this, and here on this side there's a little pocket. That's because I have folded the accordion folios a little bit differently on each side, and I have glued them in the opposite direction so that this looks different. So this little thing here you will find later on here in the very back as a pocket here. Yeah, so this little lighter strip here is the same thing like this, with the only difference that I have turned this into a pocket and this is a flip. So yeah, you can make a variation. That's what I'm trying to say here, just by folding the folios differently and gluing them in the other direction so that this looks not the same when you open the journal. So let's perhaps start here on the right. Here I have tried to make, yeah, a cluster out of different materials. I wanted to try that. I say try because I had some struggles with this. Originally here I had, instead of this star, I had some bouquet flowers, some of these little guys, and they were just too thick. Why am I telling you that? If you want to try something like this, make sure that you don't have too thick things here. If you have like a monk, like I have. Some of you have asked, what is a monk? Because I mean, I thought that this word is existing in English as well, but obviously it isn't existing. When I say in German, ich habe einen Monk, or my monk, mein Monk is telling me this or that, then it's like an invisible creature that is in my head that is a really extreme perfectionist. And this monk is telling me something that I have to do, and that are things that other people can't understand. Yeah, so in this case, my monk told me that the bouquet flowers are way too thick, because when I close the journal, I want to have something like this that looks like regular. So as you can see, the pieces of the accordion folios are in a relatively regular way in here. And when I had the bouquet flowers on my cluster here in the inside, my journal was like this. And it looked, yeah, I can put my thumb in here because that's approximately the distance. My nose. I'm sorry, that it had before. So it was like this, and it was like standing open even more like it is now. I mean, it's a little bit like, you know, can you see this little movement? That's also why I've added the closure here. Normally I'm not the closure fan, but I wanted to have this like a real rectangle so that both of these things are parallel. And with the closure now it works, but when I had the bouquet flowers on my cluster, it was just so ugly, and my monk told me that this has to be regular. So I've removed the bouquet flowers. That was an operation, oh my goodness. And I've added this little star, and this originally was thicker as well. So this came from the Idea-Ology release as well, and it's a material, it's the same material like this, and it was this thick. like these little quote thingies, and I've just removed the top layer to be able to glue this relatively flat here. Then I've used some of the ephemera pieces, this little flower and this little guy here, and these pieces here are made out of fabric with a die cut, and that is this one here. The number is 656640, and I've used this flower and this flower to layer that here. I've also added one of the little safety pins there. I think that looks really cute, and a little bit of mummy cloth to get this like loose thread look. And this die cut here and this here comes from this set here with the number 661597. It's this one here, and from this set I've also used this here and this, and I'm not totally sure, but you will see that in a second. So here, for example, you can see one of those die cuts peeking out as well. So then we can open this, and this holds with a magnet as well. So the magnet is hidden here. Here's also one of the die cuts, and the other magnet is here, so that I can make sure that this stays closed while you close and open the journal. I didn't want to have this like flapping around, or flipping around is probably the better word. So we can open this like so, and then we can see both of my absolutely favorite Christmas paper dolls. That's this man and this girl here. So I wanted to have them, you know, when this is closed, you can see his face, still see his face. I wanted to have these paper dolls here when you open the journal because I love them just so much. I mean, the paper dolls are, in general, are really fascinating to me, because finding all of these photos and doing this, you know, that you have only the person and not the rest of the photo, that is just amazing. And they are so versatile, but some of them really speak to me more like others, and that's the fact for these, and that's just cool. So I have tried to put the paper dolls into like a little scene. Here, this collage is not so extremely overloaded like others, but I've tried to play around with those different styles of collages in this journal as well. So then you can close this here and you can open it like so, and you can see that this piece here lays now on the edge of this accordion folio. So I did that on purpose. I've measured the spine and this thing here, and I did it so that this can lay on here now. So if you want to work on these pages, you have a sturdy surface to work on, because below here, of course, there's a really big hole now where this scenery on the spine is, and I wanted to have this like a journal where you can, of course, also work in, even if this is a make that will go to Tim and he will show that in the video. But when I get this back, of course, I want to do some things in this journal and I want to use it. So I want to have a sturdy surface where I can work on. A little explanation to this, for this page, that is something that I had in mind for other pages as well, but just so that you can understand what I thought behind this. So this looks like it is a tuck spot, and this is a tag, and it looks like you could take the tag out, but you can't. It's glued down. Why have I done this? Because that at first glance makes no sense. Because normally if you have a journal, you want to take the things out. But this is a make, as I said, for Tim's live video, and I tried to keep this as simple as possible because he has to show it in the video and I want to make his life easier, and that's why I have glued this down. But why am I telling you that? Because if you want to make something like this for your own journal where you have things that you can take out, then you could of course take this and turn that into a tuck spot. So you could have the paper doll, this little greenery here, and these elements here on the bottom glued together, glued here and here, so that you then could take this tag out, and you could just use the tag to tuck it behind the tuck spot. So this is just to make Tim's life easier, yeah, and to make this not too complex. The same, for example, here with this little group of girls. I always have to laugh when I see these girls, because it feels like this is me in different ages, because they look a little bit like, you know, they didn't get the present that they wanted to have for Christmas, but they got some socks or something like that. And those faces, it's just so funny. But yeah, here you could do the same thing. You could take these elements, this frame and the card and everything, the children, and you could turn this into a pocket just by leaving this open here or on the top, so that you also could take the card out and have something else behind the card. I've just glued it down to make everything easier and more simple, but that's just an idea that I wanted to share with you. So this is then the first signature. Don't be shocked, because this is something that I would normally not do for my journals, but same reason. I wanted to keep this easy, so I have empty pages here. I've just glued some stickers down here so that you can see what you can do with such an accordion folio. I wanted to demonstrate that you can take a whole signature and put that in here and in other places as well. So this journal has 4 signatures like this, so that you have room for journaling and room for decorating some of the pages. Here, when we come to the last page of this signature, you can see this tree that is made with the Trimetry die cut from the last release from Tim Holtz and Sizzix. And I have cut this tree. I mean, this is actually the base of this die cut, which has several different layers. I have cut the base 3 times, so just the same piece of the die cut set. And then I got these 3 layers here just by sewing with a running stitch through here. And perhaps you're wondering what I've used for cutting this. And I'm really excited if Tim can see that at first glance, if he will realize what this is. Because, I mean, this man is just amazing, yeah? When he gets the makes and he has his live videos, then for me, it's like he's doing 10 things at the same time, showing the makes, exploring everything, reading the chat, answering questions, and that's for me just like crazy. And I have the biggest respect for him when he is doing all of the things at the same time. So, of course, I'm not sad if he will not realize what this is, but of course I want to tell you about this and what it is. I've used just 3 pages of the sticker book to cut that out. So this, you can see, is the negative of the die cut. I've just put that into my die cut machine and cut that out with all of the quotes on here. And then I have removed what normally would be left over when you remove one of the stickers. So when you take one of the quotes, let's take this one here, for example, then you have this like rectangle shape, and then you are left with these little guys here that would normally stay on the sticker sheet. And for the trees, I've removed all of these pieces. Hard job for my nerves, but then it was like this, and you can see these little spaces in between, and the quotes are still on here. So you can also see bigger spaces in between here. That's where I already had removed the quotes and used them for other things during this journal. And then I've alcohol inked this material, and after that was dry, I have added a little layer of collage medium to make sure that the quotes themselves, so the stickers, really stay on this material, because you know it's a sticker material, it's supposed to take it off, and to make sure that everything stays in place, the collage medium helped a lot. This is embossed with the Bubbles stamp, so I can show you that as well. That's this gorgeous stamp. The number is CMS 449. I've just stamped that to one of the backdrop papers and then embossed that with white embossing powder. And here I've did a little glittery grunge on the edges as well, so that it looks really, you know, aged and grungy. Here on this collaged frame, which also comes with the Idea-Ology release, I've used an embossing folder to create these little thingies here. Hopefully you can see them. And that is this folder here. This is called Dotted, and the number is 666292. But I will also link all of these things down below in the description box for you, so that you can check that out. This folder is just amazing. And I thought here, with a little bit of gold, this looks like tiny Christmas balls. I don't know if that is the right word. You know, these little guys that you hang to the Christmas tree. Really, really nice. And I've just layered the frame on some other pieces, just some black craft stock, is that the right word? I don't know. Black paper. And this is one of the Idea-Ology pieces as well. And I've cut this. Here it originally said Winter Wishes, for creating an interesting touch to the background. I've cut that with a die cut as well. And that's this one here. The number of this is 666062. And the cool thing about these die cuts is that you get two things at the same time. On the one hand, you get this like negative cutting, so that when you put something behind, in this case a black paper, you can read this. And the cool thing is that the die cuts are like this, so the letters are already lined up perfectly, and you can just put that to the paper where you want to cut it out, and you have the perfect little quote. And you get this, and at the same time, of course, you get the letters themselves as well. So what comes out from the die cut here, you can still use for building other words and other sentences for your journal in the same font. And that's, I think, really cool. So then you can see here, we can't flip further because here's the next spine. So we have to flip this back, and then we can open it here. So here you can see the spine of the signature that we've just seen. And then it flips like this. Here we have this little pocket. I've made that out of this piece that normally from the Accordion Folio flips down. I've just glued and additionally sewn it here. And then it holds these little cards. And I want to tell you something that happened with these cards. Because I thought, how can I let this theme of glittery grunge go to these cards as well? And I thought, how do I want to do this? So I thought, first of all, I crumble the card a little bit so that I get these little damages here. I've additionally sanded some of the areas of this card a little bit. That's why these areas are so wide. And then I thought how to get something like grunge and glitter and crackle to this card. So I thought I add a little bit of crackle paint, which dries translucent, and then I can add some glitter and it will stick there, as you can see here. And I've done that, but that was just an accident. Oh my goodness, it was really terrible. So I had these cards hanging like so in a row. So all of the cards that are in this journal, I think that are 8 or 9 or so. And the crackle paint was already on there. And after I had crumbled the card and before I added the crackle paint, I've added some Distress Spray Stain Vintage Photo and then the crackle paint. And while that was drying, but it was still wet, I've taken this little guy with my glitter in it and I've done it like so, you know, then you can press here and the glitter will fly out here. But the problem was, I didn't realize that I had my, I lost the word. I think it's fan, isn't it? This little machine that blows air into your room when it's really hot outside to make the air cool. And that was like moving and I pressed and then the air from the machine came like so, and the glitter was not on my card but all over the place, over my desk, everywhere in my room. Do that, but please don't breathe, close every window, and don't use machines that blow air, because then, you know, I think I will find this glitter until the end of my life in my room. But now I have this, and this crackle paint is glittery. And after I had finished this card, with this accident in my mind and the glitter in my room, Tim told us that there will be a new distress paste coming out very soon. In the meantime, we already have it, and you can guess what it is if you follow Tim. It's Texture Paste Sparkle. And when he showed us this paste and when I saw it for the first time, I was like, why the heck have I done this? I mean, here I additionally have crackles. This doesn't crackle, yeah. But having this translucent paste and the glitter was really hard to do. And with this accident in my mind, I was like a little bit angry about myself, of course, because it was my own fault. But when I saw this and how this comes out, I was like, why haven't I had this before I did this? Because this is how this sparkly paste comes out, and this is, you know, it doesn't have crackle, but it's exactly what I wanted to have. And this could have saved me a lot of time and a lot of glitter in my room. But yeah, this paste is amazing. It's like white and creamy when it's in the bottle, but it dries clear and it has this glitter. Buy that. This is great. And I will definitely use that for other projects where I need glittery things. And you can, of course, also tint this. So these cards can go in here, in this little pocket, with this little cute girl. And here you can see another example how I used these little guys here from Idea-Ology. So this is just a vintage button. And I have put this little fastener through the button so that I have this little ring, and I could hang this 25 here. Nearly all of the green flowers that come with the Idea-Ology release, and also these here I have altered with some sticky embossing powder and glitter. And here in the back, that's just some translucent grit paste with some glitter on top. And for that, I've also used the rock candy glitter for the flowers as well as for these little snowflakes in the background. So here I've tried to combine something that is not Christmas with something that is Christmas. So I wanted to have some wings on this boy, and also I've done it here on this paper doll as well. So I thought, is it possible to take a butterfly and combine that with Christmas flowers and the paper doll? For me, it is possible. It makes it really, really interesting, I think. This is just one of the transparent butterflies. You can see a little bit through, I mean, to the background. I think in the camera it's not so visible, but I really also like the mixture of the materials, because this is like glossy plastic and this is a tiny little bit glossy, like medium glossy, I would say. And with the glitter, you get this texture that you can feel and another surface as well. And that makes it really interesting. Here's just some embossed vellum in the background, and here I have torn one of the collaged frames to make it just bigger, you know. So it's like one of these, but the bigger size, and when you tear it, you can just split both of the pieces to get a bigger frame. Yeah, just as an example of what you can do with these frames if you need them in a bigger size. But because I think this is still a frame, I mean, your eye is like completing the missing part here and here, so that it is still like a full frame. Yeah, so here we have another of these empty signatures that I can use for journaling when I get this back. And here we have this. So on this page here, I've tried something with a stencil, some translucent texture paste, and some embossing glaze lumberjack plaid, and some golden embossing powder. I've used a stencil for this pattern. That is this. Ooh, I'm sorry. Go in there. That is this one here. That has the number THS 167. Really versatile stencil, I would say. I've added the translucent texture paste through the stencil, and then I've added the embossing glaze lumberjack plaid, and I've used my heat gun while the paste was still wet to get some of these bubbles that make a really nice texture. And while that was still a little bit sticky, I've just sprinkled some golden embossing powder on there and heated that up again to get also a little bit of the powder. Where's my finger? Here next to the pattern of the stencil. Can you see that? So that it looks a little bit more grungy and not so regular. Here I've used the Trimetry die cut again as a background for these little girls. And here I've made a little cluster just with a bread and these pieces here. So this is just like a little ticket thingy, and this is one of the quotes as well, one of these. And there I've just removed the most of the material that was on the back here, so that this is really thin and a little bit flexible as well. Just a little bit ephemera here on the bottom attached with this little tiny paper clip that makes a really like easy and simple, fast but interesting collage here on the back, on the bottom. And here this is just the last page of the folio, which I've glued completely to the inside of the cover. Again, this is just because, you know, I didn't want to make it too complex. You could also turn this into pockets. You could make a top-loaded pocket just by gluing it only here, so that you could put something in from here, or even from here, or from the bottom as well. Or if you glue it so that it is open here, you could also make it into a pocket that could be filled from here. This is now a pocket. So I've used this part of the accordion folio, so this shape is also part of the material of the folio. I've glued that down to create this pocket, and it holds these cards. And for all of the cards, I've just backed them with some backdrop paper, and I've glued some of the stickers to the back so that these can go in here now. And you can take them out with the help of these little tabs. This is also my monk. It has to be like wonky, but so that you can grab these things. So for these paper dolls, I thought, I mean, both of these girls have these little sticks with the stars, and I've left this star like it was, and here I've attached one of the other stars. I've altered that with a little bit of grit paste crypt and some ink. And you can see you can do a lot of things, a lot of different things with these stars. So this is one possibility. This looks nearly like wood now. And here you can see another of these stars, which I've altered with some embossing powder in white and gold. And that makes it really interesting, I think, because you have the same shape. I mean, it's a star, isn't it? But with different mediums, you can get so many different effects, and I think that's just great. Yeah, so that's this. So we can close this and go to the left.
And I want it all, from the lights to the mistletoe.